Hello everyone, my name is Kathy and I'm going to show you how I needle felted the rare, critically endangered and wonderful Coquerel's Sifaka Lemur, also known as the dancing lemur. This is one of my very favorite animals and I would love to go to northwest Madagascar someday to see them in the wild. Anyone watching who had young kids growing up in the 2000s, especially those of you in the US and Canada, might be familiar with the children's show ZOBOOMAFOO, which featured a Sifaka lemur who in real life was called Jovian. That show is how I discovered this species and I've loved them ever since, and I'm going to name this one after him. So I started with my usual wire and pipe cleaner core, which I made using a picture of a lemur skeleton for reference, and here it is wrapped in its first layer of core wool. This is the piece of wood I chose for Jovian, and my idea was to make him so that he's clinging onto it. I went back and forth on the pose for a while. I also wanted to make him in an upright pose because this species of lemur is well known for the way it moves around by bouncing sideways, and I wanted to try to imitate that. The clinging pose went out this time, but it was close enough that I think I'm just going to have to make another one in an upright pose. This is the first primate I've ever made, so once I had the basic wire skeleton covered, the challenge was to figure out how his body shape differed from the usual quadruped animals that I make. So it took me a while to work out what areas to add wool to start to fill out his body. I'm basing my initial build on this photo here, and then when the basic shape is done, I'll bend him into position. His proportions were looking very strange at this point, but once I bent him into a trial position, I could see that things were on the right track. This is why using a wire armature is so useful. It's great to be able to manipulate and test poses, and it makes the sculpting process so much easier. What I did next was kind of sketched out where his brown patches were going to go. This is really rough because it's all going to be covered by more wool, but since this is a new animal that I'm unfamiliar with as far as felting goes, it helps to be able to visualize the end result as much as I can. From the photos, it looks like his chest is brown and kind of tapers down to his stomach, and then the brown kind of extends over the tops of his upper arms and also over the fronts of his upper legs. Like I said, I left it really rough for the time being because I wanted to finish his head and hands before I did any more work on his body. I'm always the most nervous to start the heads of animals because that's where so much of the animal's true character lies, in their faces. And the slightest little miscalculation of proportion or feature placement can make a gigantic difference. One of the things I've learned in my needle felting journey is that making the head too big is one of the biggest mistakes you can make if your goal is realism. So I forced myself to keep the head small, even though my instinct was to make it bigger. Once I had the basic shape of the snout done, I started on the eyes. Sifakas have the coolest yellow eyes, and sometimes they look a little bit unnerving, to say the least, because they're often very wide open and round and piercing. But in a few pictures, I've seen them with their eyelids slightly drooping, and it's so cute. And that's what I wanted to go with for this guy. For once, I feel like I nailed the nose. I'm not even sure how I did his nostrils, and I think it was a bit of a fluke because I can never seem to do nostrils on my other animals, so I often just don't do them. I'll just leave the nose flat, but I'm actually really happy with his. It was around this point, though, that I decided I'd gone too far in the other direction in the head size department, and I made the head too small. I thought about continuing, but I couldn't get it off my mind, so finally I decided I had to make it a bit bigger. Unfortunately, that meant the removal of his eyeballs. I kept the snout, though, as it was, because there was no way I was going to redo that after nailing the nostrils, but the eyes came out. I added some width and a bit of height to his face, and then I redid the eyes just a bit bigger, and yep, it was much better. It might not look too much different than before, but the tiny size difference in the eyes that made them much more visible. Here's when he started to look so cute, when I put his hoodie on, that characteristic white fuzzy head fur that makes these beautiful animals so distinct. This is just the first layer, and I put more wool on after, but first I needed to add his ears, and this back area would of course all be covered when I did the finishing layers. Now that his face was done, it was time for the biggest challenge with this piece, the hands and the feet. Like the rest of this piece, they're different than any of the paws and claws I've done before. Admittedly, I tried a few ways to make them that I wasn't happy with, but finally settled on wrapping wire with comb tops wool instead of carded wool to get a smooth finish, and then applying glue on top of each finger, school glue, not super glue, to keep the wool in place. You can't really tell it, but I made 10 of them a bit smaller to make the hands and 10 a bit larger to make the feet. Twisted them together, and then I covered them with a light coat of white wool to create the fuzzy look of their fingers and toes. I feel like I may have made them too big, but I'm just going to have to live with that because I'm definitely not making them again. They were so small and fiddly, and I was just glad they were done. Before I started attaching the hands and feet and doing the final felting of the body, I worked on the tail a bit. It's always nice to take a break from the fiddly stuff that can be frustrating. For me, that's hands and feet, and just do some simple smoothing. Because I just knew that when I started attaching the hands and feet, my patience would be tested again. So somewhere along the way, I decided to switch out the piece of wood he's clinging onto for a much thinner one. I think the bigger one will hide too much of him, and I want to be able to see some of his front when he's hanging onto the tree, and the thicker one would have covered him up too much, so I like this much better. Here we go, the dreaded appendage attachment process. I have to admit that it didn't go too badly. It's still incredibly rough, as all I really needed to do at this point was get them on there. After they were on, you can see that his arms and legs were still really skinny, so I needed to add quite a bit of wool to build him out. Now that I was doing the final shaping, I had to decide what his final position would be. It was already pretty close. I just ended up pulling his front forearm up a bit, scrunching his legs a bit more, and bending his feet into place. Now my favorite part. The hardest parts are done and I can just relax and do the finishing. I kept adding wool here and there to build out his arms and legs a bit more, and when I was happy with his shape, I started the process of smoothing him all over. This part took a long time, maybe 3 or 4 hours, but it's so relaxing and doesn't require a lot of mental energy, and I love the satisfaction of seeing it slowly smooth out. So this next step, I wasn't sure if I was going to try, but I'm glad I did because I think it added to the realism. Sifaka Lemur's brown spots have a bit of a reddish edge in some areas, so I took some rust-colored wool and just added a tiny bit over the top of the brown at the edges, and I really liked the result. Everything was pretty much done. All I had to do was add a little tiny bit of color in just a few areas, like under his eyes, on his eyelids, and on his fingertips. It's barely perceptible, but it brings out his features just a tiny bit more. And I didn't show this on camera because I had to get in really, really close, and I don't have a camera set up yet that I can do extreme close-ups, but for the absolute final touch, I dipped a pin in white acrylic paint and just gave him the tiniest highlight on each eye. Finally, he was ready to attach, and unfortunately I didn't film this part. I say that because I've had a couple of questions about how I attach pieces to their bases, but all I did was put a drop of super glue on each palm and press it firmly onto the branch. I did make sure beforehand to mark the exact spots the hands and feet were to go because once the glue was set, he is not going anywhere. Okay, he is done, and here we go with the final shots. I really love this guy, even though admittedly I'm not 100% happy with a few things, like for instance his fingers and toes. I think I can do them better, and I think I know how I want to do them next time I make a lemur, and also next time I make one I'm going to try to do fur planting. Who knows how that'll end up, but I want to up the realism factor a little bit. But for now, I'm really happy with Jovian. And if you're interested in seeing him in real life, just search ZOBOOMAFOO on YouTube. There are lots of episodes there and you can see him bouncing around. Thanks for following along, everybody. I really hope you enjoyed it. If there are any animals you'd like to see me make, let me know in the comments. I love hearing your suggestions. If you liked what you saw, check out my other videos and consider subscribing to my channel. There's lots more to come, so stay tuned. I'll see you in the next video, and until then, take care.